Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrew Stott, I'm the Emperor of Stomaria, and today we'll be discussing with King Raoul the past, present and future of the Kingdom of Wayward. So I'm sat here with King Raoul Halvar of the Kingdom of Wayward, and we're just going to have a friendly chat as to the history of Wayward, so its past, but also its present, and what we're going to be doing in the future. So, Raoul, you know the story, I know the story. Tell us a little bit about, why Wayward was founded, how it was founded, people involved, and all the rest of it.
I think the long and short of the answer is I believe that I could potentially do a better job than the people running the country at the moment. I think that's where it stemmed from. Maybe not on a grand scale, but on a very micro scale. A system based around what I can do on my land, which benefits my people, which excludes the dependency on an outside source. And alongside the occupation of the woodland in previous years, we have used it as almost what would you call it, a way to make the claim, to stake that claim. That's what it is. So to reinforce our claim, it's been a great thing to stand under as a micronation, to be able to continue doing what we're doing here at Wayward, and more to the point as well. It's the people that make you the king. It's the people that see you as the leader. It's the people that kind of nominate you and put you in that position. And in the beginning, it was just me and a merry band of people. And they were involved in the project way before the Micronation became a sort of established thing. And as it's my land and I am the landowner, I was already sort of like the obvious choice and nominee to be the one that's the king of Wayward.
I was going to say, because you were here, many years before actually Wayward got set up.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, I was here 4 years, and the Micronation is now 2 years. So 6 years I've been out here. 4 of that was independent and me and a group of friends. And then we moved on from that into a micronational sort of stance where we are now. And that's allowed us to sort of exercise the more social side of things as well, to be able to, as you well know, take advantage of the little quirks that you have with having a micronation, the flag designs, the national anthems, and all the other little fun bits and pieces. So yeah, originally it was just a case of becoming more than what we were, and to look after ourselves and be a bit more independent, because self-reliance is a big thing, as you well know. For us here at Wayward, we want to be more self-reliant as a kingdom, as our own little state, as our own little piece of the world,
And that's the thing, isn't it? It's about, micronationalism in general is about not trying to change the world, it's just trying to change your world, your little piece of it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think change starts at home, it does. And I think that if we all micromanaged our own little spaces, there'd be a lot less problems out there.
Exactly.
Like I've always said, people equal politics, politics equals problems. The less of that you have, the better. And I think this is where a dictatorship sort of skips over the democracy of things and says, it's my land, my way, this is how it is. If you want to be involved, great, come and be involved and reap the benefits of that. But if it's not for you, you don't like it, you don't want to get involved, you think it's, you know, far out there, then that's fine.
Exactly. You don't have to get involved.
You don't have to get involved.
And that's the thing I've always liked about micronationalism in general. There's a voluntarism to it, isn't it? If you don't like what someone is doing, that's okay. You don't have to get involved. You don't have to promote what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's not, say, like a political party where you're actively trying to encourage people to vote a particular way so you can govern the entire country a particular way.
For example, yeah, I mean, right now you have got people that voted Labour and the Green Party and Lib Dem and UKIP and all the other parties, but they're all being governed by the Conservatives and they've got no get out of jail free card. They've got no alternative. Exactly. They've got no way of going, but I didn't want Boris Johnson to be my Prime Minister.
No, exactly.
Where's the other option?
Exactly. I mean, if you've
this
got
is
like
another option.
If you got a 60% turnout, for example, and you know the Conservatives win half of that, then that's half of 60%. That's a tiny fraction of the total population.
Yeah.
But the government is nevertheless controlling every aspect of it.
Yeah.
Whereas with micronations, it's a case of this is what we stand for. If you want to get involved, if you like what we stand for, then feel free to pitch in.
It's voluntary.
But otherwise, don't worry about it. Do your own thing. Do what you know.
Yeah.
And again, that's why I always liked the concept of micronationalism myself, and obviously sort of you've touched on that as well. Is that there's an element of sort of libertarianism to it. It's about doing our own thing. It's about the freedom to choose what we want to do. With
the freedom of choice.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly right.
Yeah. I have to agree. And I think that was one of the big things that made this so appetizing. Was I think one of the top things in the micronational movement, if you like, as you transition from citizen of the United Kingdom over to ruling your own country, is a case of it is your land, it's your space, it's your territory, and to cross that off the list, to have that, and then have somebody come along and say, well, actually, we'd rather you didn't do this, or I'd rather you didn't do that. That can be quite demoralising when it's the simple things like solar panels or wind turbines or things like this that will then require all these sort of licenses or permissions, and you think to yourself at the end of the day, it's my land. So if you did have subjects and people that were willing to contribute to that project, you'd have far more chance of having those solar panels because you've got a support network. As I've done in the past, many Waywooders have been here to make a stand and to prevent a lot of our efforts going to waste in regards to the past with authorities, for example. And it's taken us 6 years to get to a common ground with these authorities, where now we are no longer stalemate, but past that through to a more sort of a negotiated and compromised end that benefits us all in some shape or form. A lot of people would disagree. Some people would say that's the best that we could hope for. Some people, they have all different opinions. But for me, as the landowner, as the king of Wayward, I see it as a win. And we are, as you well know, we are thriving.
So can you tell us a little bit about the sort of the highs and the lows of Wayward? I mean, does any particular event or activity stand out in terms of, the high points or sort of the low points? Because there's been a lot of ups and downs at Wayward over the years.
Yes.
And obviously Stomaria was founded, a few months after Wayward, and we came to visit a few months after that. So obviously we've been involved in some capacity with some of those
running parallel
events. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of history there, but some of our viewers may not know about them. So I mean, does any high points stick out in particular? I mean, like ceremonies.
Yeah, I think. I mean, there have been a lot of, like you say, you're probably very bullet on the mark when you say ups and downs, because we have had a fair few of these ups and downs. The highest points. Yeah, maybe the events, the congregations, the gatherings, the sort of celebrations. They were always great. They're probably not my favourite part of Wayward, but definitely a great thing to experience while doing this.
It was definitely like the community.
Yeah, the community spirit was definitely something that was very up there on the high list, but I wouldn't say it was the highest for me. I think one of the best things for me, as simple as it sounds, is watching the veg patches grow. Watching the orchards come in, growing stuff that people said would never. grow here in the woodlands. In fact, one of my most favouriteest things to brag is that I'm achieving things that people said couldn't be done. And that is one of the biggest highs for me. Watching the ducks, the chickens, the poultry, the birds continue to surprise me with their offspring, with their egg production, with all manner of that self-reliant and self-sufficient thing. Getting closer and closer and closer to self-sufficiency is definitely the biggest high for me. Watching the woodland grow, I mean, in 6 years we've been out here, and when I first came out here there was hardly anything of real sort of substantial use or resource attached to it. You know, I mean, it was rhododendron, it was laurel, it was overgrown with invasive species, and there was nothing that was actually sort of useful to anybody. In fact, not even birds would nest in the rhododendrons. It was just overgrown. So to watch it transform from that to what it is now, that's been one of the greatest things about being here. And all the little things as well, designing the flag and stuff. Like I say in the beginning, you know, when you have those sort of like extra novelty things that you can be a part of, that, you know, people that you know, play chess as a hobby, they don't have flags and national anthems. You know, people that collect model trains and play golf, they don't have this. Well, they could, I suppose. But what comes with the Micronation and what comes with this is all of the little sort of quirky little bits and pieces.
Well, that's it. I mean, you can look at a Micronation as a way of, you know, people can have their own sort of, you know, they can have chickens, they can have their own woodland, they can be more self-sufficient, but with a micronational sort of wrapper around it, there's so much more to it.
You're not just a little farmyard or small holding.
Exactly. You're something much more than that. You're, you know, you've got a set of values and ideals.
Yeah, and this is the great thing, because that attracts other people that also share those values. And like you say, it's a voluntary system. So when people can see what you're doing, they can see it working, they can see it succeeding, and they can see that, well, actually, this guy claims that he could do a better job than what they're doing. And to be fair, he's actually doing it. Yeah. And that's a big sort of like achievement that then encourages more people to get involved. And the more people that get involved, the bigger and better it grows. And then before you know it, you've got flags and national anthems and all sorts of manner of things going on. But it's all part of that.
Axes and sabres. And
exactly, huzzah! And so on we shall proceed. Yeah, definitely. And making some of my best friends, giving them titles, making them nobles, that's been a great one. To have people that have supported me for the entire, you know, 6 years, 5 years, or however long it's been since I met them during this project, where they've then had this transition from guy in the woods holding these events to a king of a micronation, and they've walked in and they've gone, actually, this is a great idea, I really want to get involved. I've gone, I'm glad you've been wanting to get involved, because now I can make you a lord or a lady or a count or a, you know, and you can like you say, the highs of it realistically is just being a part of it. I think that's the biggest high. The lowest point, I think, realistically, is the failures of things that you really needed to work. Like, I really needed to work, and they didn't. And there have been times when we've put things to test, and we've not had any success with them. Like, for example, the turkeys. I don't know, I mean, many people may remember, we used to have turkeys as part of our poultry
Frank
stock.
and the other ones.
Frank and Mello and Eileen. And it just didn't work. Same with the guinea fowl. It just did not work as we anticipated. And these are always sad times. Of course, we also lost our first flock to foxes, or a fox. So the entire flock that we had before, the leg bars and our present flock that we have, that got wiped out. That was devastating. And then, of course, the deaths along the way as well. You know, we've lost a couple of cats along the way, and stuff like this. It's all sacrifices and stuff that I've had to leave behind, let go of, and deal with sort of mainly on my own, in that emotional attachment to these things. A lot of my own people may have been attached to the birds or been attached to particular things, but no more so than me, where I've been here every day and whatnot. And I know it affected a couple of the people who were on site quite badly when it was discovered that we'd lost an entire flock. But we're in that respect as well, as much as it's been great to be a part of the community and the people have also been one of the biggest problems that we've had. You know, it's always
a double-edged sword with people.
Absolutely.
Like you always say, where there's people, there's politics, where there's politics, there's problems.
Absolutely. We've had our fair share of problems. We've had people come and try to sink this ship from the inside, but from what I've learned along my journey out here is that sometimes if people can't be the captain of that ship, they will try to sink it. And they'll start from the inside in small little tiny ways where they will pick holes and they will sink that boat with, and it will be sinking before you even realise it. And this is what's happened to me a couple of times, and now I sort of share a very similar stance to yourself in a micronation, where there is a process now, there is a way to become a part of this project, and it's not an open gate policy. It's not a free for all. It's not everybody come in. Let's have fun. Come on, let's just.
I made a video about this not so long ago about how to start a micronation regarding citizens in particular, and it's about, do your citizens, to the people involved in your project, do they add value to the project? Because if they are a liability, or if they're not contributing at all,
asset or liability,
exactly, then you have to be selective. You have to make sure that the people that you are bringing in to your micronation, and I think it probably goes for all aspects of life in general. If people aren't contributing positively to your life, to your well-being, to your environment, then it's time to cut those people out. Because they will just drag you down, or worse still, they might actively try to sabotage you, as had.
One of the first things that came to my attention when I first came out here and started this project was a post that I did see on Facebook, which it stated. Be aware of those that come to work the soil, and those that only come to pick the fruit.
Exactly.
And that's all you really need to know, because there are the fruit pickers, and the fruit pickers will come, and they will take advantage, especially if they don't share the same values as the micronation. And if we're talking how to start your own micronation, people are always going to be an asset to that, no matter what shape or form. It's just how much you're willing to tolerate. In the UK, they have to tolerate all sorts. They have to tolerate all the drunks, all the drug addicts. They have to tolerate all of the people that are causing problems, the murderers, the rapists. They have to. They have a system for that. They have a system that is based on that. We don't need a system for that.
No.
Because these people don't come into our territory. It's a bit like Australia.
All you need to do is close the gate.
Yes. You close the gate, and then you let the UK law enforcement do the rest.
Exactly.
So it does have its advantages, and it is like you say, up and down. But as far as highs and lows go, there are so many highs and wins that we've achieved. But equally so, many losses and sacrifices have had to be made, and there's been many times where I have wanted to just give up and walk away. And I know there's a lot of micronations out there, and it's no offense to them at all, but similar to yourself, when it comes to ally making and stuff, it's like, what level are these micronations at? Because there's people out there with rocks in shoeboxes, and that's their micronation, and they have everything written in paper, and it sounds so great and idealistic, and it's so fantastic. It's brilliant. Put that in this. Put it in the reality.
Exactly.
Add people. Add the politics. Add the work. Add the effort, the time, all the energy it takes to do it in the actual physical, and you'll see how hard it really truly is to be able to actually to not only keep going through all the ups and downs, but to actually still be here after like I said, I've been out here 6 years, but for 2 years being a micronation, to still be out here and saying we're still here, we're still going.
Exactly.
We're 2 years strong now.
Exactly.
We've got our people, we've got this, we've got that. That's again one of the greatest highs about it.
And those are the sorts of parallels that we've always had sort of between Wayward and Stomaria. Is that Stomaria, because even now we still lack the physical territory, aside from obviously Wayward as an associated state now, but we've always lacked the physical territory up until relatively recently. And so we were always a micronation based largely on theory. I always described Stomaria as a conceptual project because we didn't have the land to implement those policies. Whereas Wayward, from the get-go, you had the land, you had the people on the ground, you had the livestock, the produce, the agricultural produce, you had the timber, you had the activities, you had the community, and it was sort of that parallel. And it was very interesting for us, coming to Wayward as dozens and dozens of times. It must be over 50 times I've been here already, seeing Wayward develop and seeing people come and go.
It's been a long 2 years, it has, hasn't it?
It's been an adventure so far, and many more years to come, I'm
but
sure.
even with that respect, just like yourself, when you look at micronations, say, well, how far have they progressed? When I was looking into you may not have had that physical territory, but everything else was sound. I could see your system working in a physical reality. not so much a shoebox rock, but your system is set out to accommodate that future of bringing that all together and having the land, having the territory, having the citizens, having all of that. And what you've done is you've skipped out all the unnecessary dead fruit picking and just allowed yourself to get ready for the sort of prevention of dead fruit in the future.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that to me is then I've gone, well, this is what we should have done, and now it's like, well, let's follow the Empire and see how we can then achieve better, do what we need to do, which has happened, you know, since we've started to like screen people and we've started to really not close the borders, but to definitely, like Australia, you know, if you're coming in, you have to, like you said, you have to be an asset, you have to have value and add value to this, you know. I'm far more likely to open my gates to two people that are serious about off-grid living, poultry, woodland work, etc., more so than a couple of people that want to turn up and just get drunk and have parties and treat it like a holiday. And that's the problem. This environment invites the idea, we're on holiday, we can do this and we can do that. But
it's one of those weird ones, isn't it? It's like you wouldn't behave the way some of the people that have behaved here in someone's home or in their back garden.
No, you wouldn't.
But because it's a woodland, they think, oh, it's just a woodland, I can do what I want here, it's all fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, it's still your property. It's still, it's just a level of respect and courtesy that you would expect other people to have, but is sometimes just not given.
If I come to your house and you ask me to take off my shoes, I'll take off my shoes. If I come to your house and you ask me not to sit in your armchair and not to smoke, I'm not going to sit in your armchair and smoke. I'm not going to do it. But when people come here and I say, just stick to the footpaths, don't go busting over through the hedgeways or over the veg patches, or people just see that as a free-for-all. Or what, like this?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You know, you wouldn't do this ordinarily. It's like I've always said, like, one thing that people really don't like is the law, the rules, the code of conduct, the sort of terms and conditions of being in this space. It's almost like the rebellion in them comes out and goes, oh, well, I'm not following these rules, I'm not doing it. But if you were to join any private members club, from a gym membership to a swimming pool to a cricket club or whatever, they're gonna have basic rules. Even nightclubs and shops, Co-op, Tesco, Waitrose, places where people shop, they have rules. You know, they're on the door. No smoking, no dogs, no this, no that. It's on the door. They're rules, and we obey these rules and we follow them. But when, like you say, people come into this environment, lack of respect, and it turns into what I would say is, you know, it's carnage and chaos.
Well, that's the thing that we've always said, is that we are not interested in breaking the system. We're interested in building a system, a better system. And
if people want that system, fair enough. But I want an alternative, and this is it.
And I think, you know, not to put too fine a point on it, but I think a lot of people, you know, they see this guy has a woodland, sort of like almost like hippy-tippy love, free for all that kind of stuff, and then
that, my friend, is a mistake many people make. They do think that I'm very hippy-dippy in the woods. I'm very sort of.
I can promise you he's absolutely not. I mean, the amount of times he's ranted about the hippy-dippy, tree-hugging, love life, you know, like, is it
love and lighters. Love and lighters. Oh, yeah. Well, like I said.
You've got an axe to sort that sort of.
Oh, yeah. But no, it's not a case of, I like to think that I'm very accepting of most people, and I'm very tolerant and patient when I need to be. What I don't like is how people can try to tell other people how they're supposed to live their lives. And like I say, I'm not a hippy-dippy, live in the woods, hug trees kind of. I mean, I'll hug a tree, absolutely. But if that's all you think I am, then unfortunately you are going to be very surprised when you irk me or push me, because I am very much, get off my land then. Get off my land, leave my space, and if you don't, that's fine, because the UK law enforcement will be here to take you away, and off you go. And in special circumstances, we don't even have to do that. We can literally just push you out of the gate and shut the door. You know, with a reasonable force, if you wish. And I'm happy to take the consequence. If it is a case of defending my people, my land, my home, my family, my animals, my things I deem careful, I will happily stand there in front of the UK's law enforcement, judges, court systems and say, well, I was defending my property. And I think this is what a lot of people don't realise, is that this isn't just the woods. A lot of people see my videos, your videos, or other videos or interviews, and they think I've come out and claimed this spot.
You just go into a random woodland and go, this is mine, but that's not actually the case.
No, I own the plot, I have the deeds. You can look it up on the land registry, and this is what I've been saying to people for years, is that the land registry is there and available for people to see who owns what land. You can look up that land and you can see my name right there, and it's me that owns this plot. It's not been claimed, I'm not squatting, I'm not encouraging people to move into someone else's space to ruin it or make it into a party hub or pub garden. I'm out here to become more self-reliant and self-sufficient than I was yesterday on my own land that I've worked very, very hard to get. And in the process, I have found a love for nature. I have become very open to the idea of the energies and the environment and all of this, and it's made me appreciate a lot more and be grateful. But if you are going to ask me if I'm going to sit there and be all peaceful about it and be all like tolerant of people's behaviors, as I've said before, you're always going to have to deal with people, and it all just depends on how tolerant you are. My level of tolerance has gone down to a point where my line is so fine that I won't tolerate people who ring the bell too loud. You get to the gate and the first thing you do, ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling.
I'll remember that for next
Bye.
time.
You ain't coming in. I'm not dealing with this hyperactive nonsense.
No,
because what I'm trying to establish here is not some sort of rave or... I love people having fun. And it's great. Like I said, one of the highest points was community. The getting together, the music, but that is not all we are. What we are is a self-sufficient community that are trying to be more self-reliant. And this requires work, it requires effort, it requires putting things into motion. The veg beds, for example, the polytunnel, the herb gardens, all of this, the berry beds, all the the bees and getting the beds ready for them, the poultry, the animals like the guinea pigs and the cats and the dogs. All of this requires effort that is more so than once a month having a party.
That's it.
And if you can't get on board with the rowing, you don't really necessarily deserve a spot on the ship. So yeah.
Well, just to touch on that, I mean, Wayward's always been very sort of closely tied to sort of nature and environmentalism, all the rest of it. I mean, you describe yourself as pagan, and many of the other Waywarders.
Ominous is probably the better term,
yeah.
but pagan is my roots.
Yeah, so there's an aspect of getting along with nature. When you were mentioning about hugging a tree and all the rest of it, part of that. But you're the same. You're also got an axe on the other hand. So you're not in terms of that's the difference between you and lovey-dovey hippie and and your own belief system in terms of environmentalism and nature and all the rest of it.
I believe that as a species we can coexist with nature, and that we can be a part of it, not work against it, not use it, don't be resilient towards it, or adapt to it, but just coexist with it. We don't need to overcome this environmental issues with our houses and our double glazing and stuff. We just need to get outside more. We need to do more. We need to be active more. As I've always, one of the first things I said when I came out here is that if I could do anything in my time here, it would be to change my body, change my mind, and change my environment, because I do believe that those three fundamental things are key to a healthy sort of existence and the reality in here. This is my environment and it makes me happy, and my body's in good shape, which makes me happy. And as far as my mind's concerned, although people think I'm crazy, I'm just this quirky little guy in the woods. So it's all fun. Cool.
So in terms of the future of Wayward, you became a citizen of the Empire of Stomaria about a month ago. The Kingdom of Wayward became an associated state within Stomaria, so technically this is our first territory, and we are very grateful for the opportunity to support you and what you're doing, and hopefully you'll be able to develop Wayward a little bit more. So I just wondered if you wanted to talk through some of the plans for the future, some of the things that you want to do along with the Empire of Stomaria and the people involved in the project.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, to be fair, the honour's all mine. I think we share similar values in the respect of the micronational thing. So to be a part of the Empire and to come sort of from a solo sort of territory to become part of something now bigger, regardless of how bigger it is, even on the minuscule, to be that little bit bigger in terms of the micronational stance, that's an honour all in itself. And I'm very interested. I couldn't say how that's going to. I could ask you the same. How do you think this is going to work out? But no, I'm looking forward to that definitely as a future sort of project or whatever. That's going to be something that's going to be quite exciting to work alongside you with. But as far as Wayward itself, I think it's more self-reliance. It's more not just now for the good of Wayward and my people, but also what we can do is in which benefits is us and the Empire. The distribution of resources, eggs, for example, and things like this. And on that sort of self-reliant list is bees. When I first came out here, one of the first things I wanted to do was get bees. It was a big thing for the environmental impact of Wayward.
Getting those pollinators
Get some pollinators out here and maybe 2 or 3 hives, which will be then making honey. And in the long term, that honey will then be distributed across the Empire, traded and bartered, and it would be used solely for that purpose. Maybe not straight away, we would sell it and distribute it where we could and make what we can from it, but as time goes by and that micronational sort of growth starts to happen, then it will be far more beneficial on all sides of the fence to use what we've got to help various other people.
Well, this is what I was talking to you about initially when I was talking about becoming an associated state with Stomaria, is that, the grand plan, if you like, is to, have a micronation of micronations, to have certain territories and provinces, provinces protectorates and associated states, focusing, not entirely necessarily, but certainly in terms of Wayward, for example, you have eggs and honey, but another province or associated state or another protectorate that might focus on, timber or manufacturing things or something like that. And just being able to have that network within one,
definitely 100%,
within one entity, and that's the game plan. It's long term.
And to be fair, that there is a reason just to be proud of that project or that sort of system or the goal. It's very like I say, it's our honour really, because as you say, the Micronation of Micronations, we're the first.
That's it.
Hey! So. We jumped in here first, and we're.
But you can be a hot second, so.
But no, I would say it was worth it. I think for the long-term plan, when you put it on paper and you think, oh, you laugh and joke about it, and you say, oh yeah, that's how it could work, and oh yeah, that would work really, really well. When you actually see it, as you and I have done over the last couple of years, of how it actually does work, it makes it a lot more realistic to say, actually, yeah. I'm happily put my micronation in the hands of the Micronation of Micronations because I can see that it's working. And in terms of all of that, I mean, like I say, the bees are going to be a big step for honey and production for that, which we can then distribute. Getting these pine trees down as well. As you well know, the pine trees have been a thorn in my side for many, many years because they restrict a lot of light. And they aren't native to this environment in the south of England anyway, and they are very twisted, leaning, broken.
Some are quite dangerous as
very
well,
dangerous.
or dead.
Or dead and dangerous.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think in terms of some of these trees, this is timber. It's another resource.
Exactly. It's just about utilising what you have on the land. I mean, you got a quote recently about taking some of them down and all the rest of it, but at the end of the day, it is something that you'll be able to utilise yourself and form a part of, your, the resources that you have at your disposal, in addition to, your vegetables and your fruits and your.
Because with that light, it then offers the sun to come through.
Exactly.
We then got more chance of growing more produce. I mean, our berry bed alone has got every berry that I could imagine off the top of my head growing and established. Strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, black currants, red currants, blueberries, even something called a goji berry, and I'm not entirely sure what that is.
I'm sure you'll find out before long.
There's elderberries, there's a hawthorn berry, and we're waiting on the blackthorn so we can get the slow berries. But realistically, our berry bed is the best it's ever been. We've actually got real produce growing on there now, opposed to the fake stuff that we had before, or the lack of stuff that we had before. So we've actually got berries this year. We've got vegetables growing this year. We've got so much growing in the woodland that we've not had previously. It now just makes sense logically get rid of the pine trees, that sun can come down. The native oaks, the birches, the beeches, the chestnuts, they can all grow and not be sheltered. And the veg patches will also benefit from that, and the herb gardens and the polytunnel.
But more than that, you also have solar panels here. So
solar panels,
it will allow you to actually generate even more energy, which will allow you to become that much more self-sufficient.
Absolutely.
And I think this is another point I just wanted to quickly touch on, is I think people just assume you got the land, right now we're completely cut off from the outside world, we've got everything we need here. It's never been like that, and it may never get to the point where you're 100%.
No, of course not.
But you wouldn't want to be necessarily. Do you really want to show your passport every time you step off foot of the land to see your family or friends, or go down to the local pub?
This is it. We do not, I say we, you don't grow coffee in England. It's not English coffee. They're not English bananas. They all come from different countries, and we trade currency for a set amount of bananas. If it were potatoes, if it were eggs, if it were something, there's England, grow it yourself, get it yourself. But if you like your coffee and you like your chocolate and you like your bananas, you're going to have to import. And every country in the world imports exports. It's how they have grown their economies. It's how they've grown their countries, through import export. It drives me insane when people say, well, you're not off-grid, you're not self-sufficient really, you're going down the co-op, you're buying coffee. Yeah, I never claimed that we couldn't.
No.
It wasn't a case of, we're now a micronation, we're not North Korea. No, I mean, come on. There's no reason why we can't just border hop. From the UK to Wayward, Wayward to the UK, and trade our goods for their currency, and then use their currency to buy their goods to export. And some of it, we even trade our eggs for produce.
I mean,
it's a fair exchange.
One of the first things that we did when we came to Wayward is we actually traded our silver for some of your eggs. So I know it's different, obviously, in the sense that you're not buying the eggs in the traditional sense, or we're not buying the eggs in the traditional sense. But it's that sense of micronations sort of, trading or having relations outside of the UK. So it's it becomes an internal system. And obviously now we're having,
and there's no tax on trading eggs.
No, well, exactly.
So,
and now that we're producing the Sumerian stater coins in a little, with the Kingdom of Wayward on one side and the Empire of Stomaria on the other, as the first design. And obviously they will eventually, your plan is to introduce those into the Empire of Stomaria, into the community, into the Stomaria community, including the Kingdom of Wayward.
Making an economy based on micronational trade and...
Exactly. And that's what it's all about. That's what we like to see. It's about reducing reliance on the UK government, about reducing reliance on the UK economy and UK products. But at the end of the day, there will always be some involvement. I have to cross large swathes of the UK to get here. I don't want to have to, open my door, show my passport to some, border officer.
You're not getting a helicopter from yours to mine.
Exactly.
No, I completely get it, and I think this is where the difference is between the people that get that, and they go, oh, I see what you've done, I can see what you're going to do, I can see the future has a potential, but we're not going to expect it like that.
No.
And then you've got other people that go, well, hang on a minute. Where's the solar farm?
Exactly.
Where's all
You've
the
been
cows?
out here for 2 years.
Yeah, what have you been doing?
Why haven't you got 100 dwellings and 1,000 citizens? And
where's the town hall? Where's the public swimming baths?
But I can guarantee you, those same people, normally micronational leaders, are 12-year-olds that have put a couple of sticks together in their parents' back garden.
The treehouse at the bottom of the yard.
Exactly. This is my, this is my first dwelling. This is my, we're a bit more. I'm trying to think of the right word. A bit more adult, I suppose. A bit more realistic.
Realistic is the word I would say. Yeah, you need to be realistic, and I think a lot of people that have a sort of a fantastical kind of mind, they think, oh, the Kingdom of Wayward. Oh, isn't that lovely? It's all princesses and Disney castles kind of thing, and they can skip around and dance and.
I like you said princess. As the Kingdom of Wayward.
Well, I was thinking more like sort of like the Disney kind of.
A Disney-fied version of.
Yeah, like you've got your. People are like, oh, I can dress up and I can do this and it will all be nice and fancy. And then you say, I'm glad that you wore your best frock, love, but today we're cleaning out chicken crap. So grab a shovel, let's get to work.
That's it.
And this is what it's about. It's not about what your people can do for you. It's about what you can do for your people. And my people might like the odd party here and there, and they might like the events and the gatherings, but
that's the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work that has to go on behind the scenes.
They like the produce more. They like the progress more. They like the produce and the dream or the end result more than these little days where we get merry, have a feast, listen to music, play the drums, dance around the fire, when we are hugging trees and being hippy dippy dippy dippy, which is great fun to pretend to be that for a couple of hours or a night or a weekend. But that's not who we are.
No.
As you say, that's the tip of the iceberg that a lot of people see, and that's what they love. Oh, I'd love that. That's my ideal world. It's not like that at all. And even in a self-sufficient reality, if you were to provide everything you could for the feast and give that to, you've got to make your own alcohol for enough people. I mean, how long's that taking you? You know, all the produce for the food and all of that. To make this a reality on a self-sufficient scale would take a lot more effort and time than people realise. So when people come out here and go, well, we've come to this event to have a real self-sufficient experience and we're sitting around eating chicken from the village, and you just think to yourself,
well, the alternative is I cull the entire flock that I have.
Exactly, because it's all about the growth, it's the patience, it's the time. I mean, 6 years I've been doing this, 2 of that are Micronation, and as I say, it's not what my people can do for me, but what I can do for them. And if I can continue this, I'm here doing the work. I'm not sitting in my ivory tower, I'm not on me throne barking orders going, no, you do that, you do this, and when there's nobody around, work doesn't stop. I pick up the shovel myself. I dig the chicken manure myself. I plant the seeds myself. And when my people come, the produce is here. And in the future, when the Empire has various different trade routes, we will be one of those stop points where we will be able to, as you say, trade this for that and swap this for that, and you know, and have that. Because
hopefully use the sort of Sumerian status.
I was going to say, you have the currency now. When we went down the Micronational list of things that make a micronation, currency was one of them. Have your own currency. We opted for the trade and barter route. So we never touched on coins, we never touched on actual money or monetary kind of values or anything like that.
You didn't really have a monetary policy.
We left the door open.
Exactly.
And then what fit that jigsaw puzzle perfectly was that Stomaria came in with its empire's idea of the currency and the coin, the stata, and that fit our sort of system well, because there's no exchange rates, there's no conflict. It's we have resources. You have the coin. The two go together quite well. Though I must say, I did notice that you did say that the coins would have, what was it, people of particular interest? Now, if I'm not on a coin...
You will be on, I promise you will be on a coin.
You heard it all, guys. You heard it all. The Emperor himself has said, I'll be on a coin.
I might be in the doghouse if I put you on the coin before Samantha.
Oh, no. I expect a coin of you and Samantha first, you know, of course.
It's all about me.
I don't mind being 10th. Maybe, you know, 10th on the list.
You'll be a bit higher up there, I promise you. But yeah, you are definitely a person of interest within Stomaria.
I can't wait
you will be on
to
the
see
coin.
my face on a silver coin.
That's it. Silver. I'm surprised you didn't say gold coin. You know,
why
settle for silver?
I don't want to be too over ambitious. I'm only new to this Associated States, so
put you on a copper coin.
Put me on a copper coin. I've never been on a coin before, so I think I just take what I can get.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Raoul, for this very informal chat, this interview process, if you like, just so people can get an idea of where you come from, where you're at, and where we're going.
No, it's been fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, thank you very much.
Lovely. Mwah. Love and peace.
So, if you enjoyed that video and you want to support the Empire of Stomaria in its growth and development, then please feel free to become a citizen through our Patreon campaign, which I'll link in the description below. But otherwise, please feel free to like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.